Well, that's the point. Their blind, deaf, and dumbness is like this. They won't open their eyes, and they won't take their hands off their ears, and they won't speak. And in the next world, they admit that. That's what the Quran says in Surah Tabarak. فَاعْتَرَفُوا بِذَنْبِهِمْ. They'll finally admit that it's يَسْبِقَهُمْ الْكِتَابِ. And then the decree precedes them, and they do some action of the fire, and they go to the fire. That hadith, there's another riwayah where it says, فِيمَا يَبْدُو لِلنَّاسِ, to what it appears to people. And that point is that those people's hearts, that they were hypocrites. So, and the thing about hypocrites is that they will do things that expose themselves before they die. That's why Sidi Ahmed Zarruq says, all the things that people do in this world that are bad in order to obtain things that they deem good, those things will be the cause of the thing that they were trying to free themselves from. So if somebody learns astrology to protect himself from a harmful death, he'll have a harmful death. If somebody learns alchemy to enrich himself, he'll be impoverished. It has the opposite. So the thing that you go to literally has the opposite effect on you.
The year after.
No, here, in this world.
Is the story of Marut?
Yeah, that's one opinion. It's mentioned in some of the tafsirs. I mean, Harut and Marut are a problem. It's an ishkal, because they're angels, but they're teaching something that's harmful. And that, in a sense, is almost like a negative revelation, which is interesting. I mean, the idea that, that you could have a negative revelation, which brings in the whole idea of opposites and things like that again. But Allahu A'lam. The thing about the Prophet ﷺ, he was affected by magic. But he was given the Mu'awwidhatan, which are the last two surahs in the Quran, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. And he never left them after that. And what happened to him was, he wasn't affected in his understanding, but he was physically affected. Sulaiman a.s. was not given magic. Because there's a difference between magic. Magic is using means that are in the creation. There's two types of magic. One is called khifat al-yad or sha'wada, which is like the magic of David Copperfield, people like that. It's the ability to create illusions, optical illusions. And then the other type of magic is manipulation of things in creation through magic. Both of them are prohibited in Islam. What the prophets do, in other words, when Musa a.s. threw down the staff and it became a snake, it wasn't magic. I mean, one of the things, if you read 1001 Nights, which is certainly not anything to get aqidah from or anything like that, but there's all these kind of interesting where the genie does all this magic, and then the magic, when the genie no longer is working for the person, all the stuff disappears. So the genie will make him a palace, but then when the genie now has a new master, the palace just disappears. So all the treasure goes back to rocks. That is a good analogy for what magic is, that it is insubstantial in reality, even though it appears to be real. Whereas what happens with the prophets is that it's real. It's something that actually comes into existence. So when Musa a.s. pulled his hand out and it was white, that was real. Without any min ghairi su', there was no harm. It wasn't vitiligo or leprosy. It was this light that came out. That was real. It wasn't magic. So the difference is that one is a manipulation, and the other is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly, not through means. There's no means. See, magic is using means in creation, whereas the miracle, there's no means. It's direct from God. And that's why the people that witness it see it for that. If you've ever seen a film of somebody shot in reality, I saw some films from Afghanistan during the jihad, and I saw this Russian soldier. I'll never forget it, because it was so different from what Hollywood does. I mean, it was very real. And that's the nature of the miracle in relation to the magic, is that it's real. And that difference between art and life, we can see that a film is not real. You come out of it, you can fall into the willful suspension of disbelief while you're watching the film. But when you come out, you're back in reality. It's not the same. It's real. And magic is in many ways, it's interesting because simya'u is a magic where you create images in the air. It's called simya'u. I don't think cinema is related to it. It's interesting that in many ways that film is very magical like that. It's powerful magic. It's definitely sleight of hand because these frames that are done to create an optical illusion, because they're still frames creating the optical illusion of motion. So technically by Sharia, I think the traditional ulama would have seen it as magic, as a type of magic. All right? Jazakumullah khairan, inshallah.
This completes CD number 8. To order more products by Alhambra Productions, please visit us at www.alhambraproductions.com or call us toll-free at 1-877-888-8273.